Humanities 200 students, and welcome to your second week video tutorial. This week I wanted to talk about the concept of what we call a theme, and you'll be exploring this idea more and more as you get farther into your major project for Humanities 200, in which you'll be choosing two works of art, two artifacts to compare and contrast, and you're going to be thinking about them in terms of what theme it is that they share. So when we're talking about a theme, we want to make it clear that you guys know exactly what we're talking about when we talk about two works of art in terms of a theme. So some ideas I wanted to go over in this little tutorial today. I wanted to go over the what, why, and how when we talk about themes in art. So what is it that we're talking about when we say themes? One way to look at it is to think about a theme as the big idea or the question that has a profound meaning for us when we look at a work of art, a work of visual art, a work of literature, a work of popular art, even when we look at a movie, if we think about different films and popular books and even television shows out there, what's sort of this common theme that runs through all of them that tends to have a profound impact on us as people? Um, so some themes transcend culture and time, meaning that they've been around forever. They're something that has always interested man and mankind since the beginning of time, and we can see them in cultures all across the globe and all the way back through history, regardless of where you're from and when you've lived. There are certain themes that we all sort of gravitate to, and then other themes can be a little more specific or particular depending on their respective culture. So when we think about a theme, you want to think about sort of the big idea or the concept behind the work of art. What's sort of driving it? What's the message or the major feeling that we as individuals can get from that work? So, for example, the theme of love is a big one. We can think about all kinds of works of art, whether it's visual works, audio works, music, literature, poetry, movies, film. Love is a big one in there. We see it across all kinds of cultures. The idea of love, whether it's love within a family, love between two individuals, love for friends. This all different sorts of love is a theme that's, of course, one of those big universal ones. The theme of faith and spirituality is another one of those that transcends culture and time, regardless of what your specific religion or belief is. This concept of faith and spirituality is one that's common to people across time. The theme of the hero, we see this crop up a lot, particularly in literature and in films, what it is that makes a hero, what kind of qualities are there when we describe someone as a hero. The theme of family, the theme of death, for better or for worse, it's one of those issues and big ideas in our lives that affects all of us. The theme of identity is another big one, trying to figure out who we are as individuals or maybe who we are as a group. Then some that are a little more specific perhaps to particular cultures. The theme of dreams or the idea of the subconscious and exploring that sort of realm. The theme of nature, how we see lots of artists and works of art focus on the theme of nature over time and man's relationship to it. The theme of portraiture, how we capture the image or the likeness of one another, whether it's a portrait of someone else or self-portraiture, how we capture the image or likeness of ourselves. The theme of power, again, something that goes across different cultures and times but can be more specific depending on the particular culture, what it means to have power or be powerful. And another one that's sort of a better or worse idea is the theme of war. It's one that is another timeless one, but can be very specific depending on a particular culture or time period in history. So those are some examples of themes, sort of these big ideas and questions that we tend to see appear again and again and have profound meaning for us in works of art. Why do we explore this idea of a theme? One reason we ask you to think about works of art in terms of themes and think about the humanities in terms of themes is that it helps you to go beyond just learning the facts or just learning, the dates and the time periods and the names and the artists and so forth. And you can start to think about these works of art in a more interesting and rich way. It helps you think about them outside of a vacuum. So when we remember that works of art are products of their time, that they aren't just paintings that are hung on a wall or works of sculpture that are put up on a pedestal, when we remember that they were created by individuals during a particular time period within a particular culture. It helps us to kind of pull them out of that vacuum and think about them in terms of those themes that were important to the people that made them. It also helps us make connections and to see the relevance in studying the arts and the humanities, depending on what field of study you're in or what your career goals might be. It might at first appear that studying the arts and the humanities isn't relevant to what you are going to be doing in your life or in your academic career. But when we can start to make connections between some of these bigger themes and see how they really do connect to other areas of our lives, like health, if you're going into the medical field, or how it goes into the field of law, or whatever it might be, we can start to make these connections that help us understand the relevance of these elements in the humanities, both in terms of today. We can look at these older works of art and see how they're still relevant to us today, and they can be relevant to us in terms of our particular goals. And then how do we look at themes? So again, you'll always be looking at themes as you read through your weekly materials and thinking about how works of art in your different readings and discussions each week are linked together, how they sort of have things in common in terms of those particular themes. And I also suggest that you consider ideas that are of interest to you. So like these that I've sort of popped up here on the screen for you in the red and yellow text. If there's one of those that particularly appeals to you, if it's something that you found yourself contemplating before, maybe you've wondered about the nature of faith and spirituality for other people, or in the context of your own faith, and you've wondered how it manifests itself in other cultures and other time periods, or you've thought about the theme of love, and it's something that appeals to you when you look at works of art, then starting with that, finding something that appeals to you is a good way to get started. So when you're going to be exploring two works of art in your major project coming up, you want to have something that appeals to you automatically since you're going to be spending a lot of time with it. So think about some of these themes. There are others, of course, that you can come up with as well, and consider which ones might be of interest